This is a meeting of the Board of Trustees of the GRS. Date being 5/27/2021. Time being 9:41. Could I have a roll call, Mr. Secretary?
Trustee Colwood. Absent. Trustee Dana Clendenin.
Present.
Trustee Dorsey.
Present.
Trustee Liger.
Present.
Trustee McDonald, absent. Trustee Smith.
Present.
Chairman Bowery.
Present.
5 present, 2
Present.
absent. 5 present, 2 absent.
Okay. All right, so we have a quorum.
Mhm.
Could you, next item on the agenda, Mr. Secretary, is comments and suggestion from retirees.
Yes, I can't see the names. I see 1, 2 probably. Aquin and Shinnery. Any retiree,
Good morning.
joining us, maybe just state your name, please, and if you're a retiree or active.
Good morning, Aquanet Shinnery here, and I'd like to just thank the board and the administration for adding to their website the link that has the documents. Very much appreciated. Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comment? Okay, hearing none. Next item on the agenda, Mr. Secretary.
Secretary minutes, approval of.
Secretary's minute. Yes. Go ahead.
Someone have to make a motion.
Do you have any, need a motion to accept the secretary's minutes?
Make a motion to accept the secretary's minute.
I second.
Moved and seconded.
Trustee Colwood, absent. Trustee Dorsey.
Yes.
Trustee Liger.
Yes.
Trustee McDonald, absent. Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Bowery.
Yes.
4 yes, 2 absent.
Okay. Minutes accepted. Any communication or correspondence?
Yes, you just have a couple. First piece of correspondence is dated May 7th. It's from the Legislature of the Virgin Islands, the Chairman of the Committee on Finance, Kurt Valley. And just to summarize, this is an annual invitation for the GRS to present its budget, although, you know, the legislature does not approve our budget, but just our present. First piece of correspondence is dated May 7th. It's from the Legislature of the Virgin Islands, the Chairman of the Committee on Finance, Kurt Valley. And just to summarize, this is an annual invitation for the GRS to present its budget, although, you know, the legislature does. Somehow there's someone probably had a recording because I had to stop because I heard myself being repeated. Are we back in real time? I guess so.
I
believe we are.
Okay, so like I said, this is just an invitation for the GRS to present its fiscal year 2022 budget. This is something that is done annually, an invitation that we receive from the legislature. They asked us to be there on Monday, August 16, 2021 at 1 p.m. in the Earl B. Hartley Legislative Hall on the island of St. Thomas. It also said, please be prepared to provide a committee as well as other members of the legislature no more than 30 minutes budget preparations for the operation of the government employee retirement system. Other piece of correspondence is an email from Nathan Simmons, who's the Director of Finance for the VI Public Finance Authority. It's dated Friday, May 21, 2021. It's the governor's invitation to municipal finance preparation, June 4, 2021. So on June 4, 2021 at 9:30, receive an invitation to attend the governor's and the Public Finance Authority to a municipal finance presentation. It's at 9:30 a.m. at the Antilles School Hall. There's a few limited seats for in person. So if you can't be there in person, you can use the link that was provided to you. Another piece of legislation is dated May 24, 2021, and it's a notice to the governor of the appointment of Ronald E. Russell, Esquire, as the elected retiree for the St. Croix district. Mr. Attorney Russell was the only person that applied, being that he was qualified. The rules call that if it's only one person and they're qualified, they will be accepted as elected. That concludes the correspondences, sir.
Okay. Chairperson's report. I don't have a report. I'd just like to say I'm delighted to welcome the new trustees and former Senator Ronald Russell, and to thank him for stepping up to the plate. As you know, we've been trying for a while to fill that slot. I think this was a third try. And so it obviously, as a board, we need to get a full complement to help us deal with all the challenges we have to deal with. So I did call him and congratulated him and again thank him for stepping up to the plate. So just like to do that on the record. There's a couple other things. I guess I'd like to, for us as a board to, and we'll talk about this with management to step up our efforts to keep the plan sponsors' feet to the fire with respect to the upcoming insolvency. As you know, we had this special committee that was set up by the legislature, and we had this one meeting. We had scheduled for a second meeting that was preempted by the Lime Tree emergency. I don't know if you saw that session, and I'm just concerned that we let the momentum slide. We need to keep the plan sponsors free to fire on this issue. So that's basically my report. We'll talk about that, discuss with the board members and staff some ideas about how we go about doing that. So that constitutes my report. Next item is the administrator's report.
Morning again. On April 23rd, I met with the Oversight Committee. This was in regard to a carnival function that was being held on Waiko Dock on April 30th. On April 28th and 29th, I participated in the new trustee orientation. 3 trustees were there: Bowery, Dorsey, and Carlwood. On April 30th, at a meeting with the Havenside Mall Marketing Subcommittee, On May 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, we had one-on-one meetings with the Havenside Mall tenants. On May 6th also, I met with a roof contractor for Havenside Mall. On May 7th, I had a meeting with a potential consultant for technical assistance for Havenside Mall generator project. On May 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 17th, again, we had one-on-one meetings with the Havenside Mall tenants. On May 17th, I met with the VI Port Authority director. On May 19th, I met with a group interested in purchasing Estate Huffman Nollyburg property. That same day, I had a meeting for presentation with technical assistant proposal for Havenside Mall generator project. That same day also, I met with the Government of the Virgin Islands stakeholders, which was Port Authority, White Coat Tourism, Department of Health, in regards to the protocol for the return of the cruise lines. On May 20th, I had one-on-one meetings with Havenside Mall tenants and the Oversight Committee. And on May 21st, I attended the Investment Committee meeting. As far as member services, regards to the applications, as of May 31, this month, we would have remaining 123 applications to be processed. As you can see, 2020, we still have at least 40 more. For those individuals, some retirees who applied in 2020, we have at least 40 applications remaining to be processed, or the cases to be completed. That would be the correct term. And in 2021, we received 84 applications thus far. We have processed 12. We have 72 remaining. And this includes the government of the Virgin Islands, central government, and also the semi-autonomous agencies. Disability life certificates remain the same, no change from April 30th. Refunds through April 30th for the fiscal year, we have paid out $3.6 million. Of that $3.6 million, as you can see, those members that were not vested accounted for 3.3 of the $3.6 million. Death certificate, we have paid out $1.4 million. So as you can see, of those death certificate payments active, we paid out $327,000 of the $1.3 million. Annuity payments, number of retirees as of the May 15 payroll, the last payroll, is 8,668 retirees. Cumulative dollar amount paid out from October through May 15th is $160.9 million. Number of retirees added to the payroll for that same period is 182. The number of retirees deleted for the same period is 213 members that passed on. The retiree payroll for that May 15th was $10.8 million. Active members recorded through April 2021 is 8,780 members. Our loans program, as you can see, as of April 30th, we have 2,506 units left to be paid. Of that 2,502, the personal loans are 2,416 units. The total outstanding amount as of April 2021 is $28.1 million. So between now and from what I saw a note from the chief of that section, I think in a report, she said at least over 500 units should be paid off. Of this balance should be paid off by the end of December. So we're going to be down under 2,000 units probably by the end of the year. And loans payments, the last units of personal loans probably will be paid off in early 2025. Obviously, mortgages go through probably 2030, 35. As far as our operations, the office complex in St. Croix is really no issues to report. Next to that, you saw water tanks and pumps. You should scratch that out. That's a typo. The St. Thomas office complex. Right now, we are suffering from some AC issues. They're doing some repairs on the AC unit. And as you know, we're putting in the new one also, but there's some repairs that have to be done. And that project should be completed by the end of June. So if you do take a trip over to the complex, you'll see the amount of work that was done in the back of the project to the north side. The hip roof replacement, the RFP, I think, is going to be out this week. From what I saw, that's to replace the other part of the roof on the complex. We do have some other ongoing projects: the lobby, atrium, the restroom renovation, and the ADA compliance. The architect has signed a contract, and GRS received the drawings and design. As far as the rental collections, in April, we collected $295,134.46. Of that amount, rentals were $85,873.59. Total year to date, we have collected $826,425.45. Of that amount, the rental is $450,408.40. We have arrearages at the end of April in the amount of $176,984.84. Of that amount, the rental is $96,297.16. You can see the exhibit A for additional information. Leases, I think just about all our leases going very fine. We do have an issue, I think, with justice. If Ms. Clendeningham wants to expound on that, she could do that after I'm finished here. Casino Commission, they have accepted the language and they're updating the language. So for the option to renew, so hopefully we'll have their lease in place as soon as possible. We received two appraisals from for the St. Croix building and also for the St. Thomas building. We received them last week and this week, so we should be sharing that with the board shortly. Strategic planning organizational, as you know, we have made a decision to continue that in the board retreat. I think what's left to do with the stakeholders, meeting with the stakeholders, is with the president of the legislature and the governor's teams, and meetings are going to be scheduled by May 31. I did see a letter going out, I signed a letter going out to the Senate President yesterday in regards to setting a date to meet with them for any input into the strategic plan. Ms. Clendeningham, could you talk about a FEMA insurance and also Exhibit B?
Okay, good morning. This is Clendeningham. The FEMA insurance has been going well. We have done a couple walkthroughs with them to ensure that the work was completed. We have two projects that are pending currently without an application for a drawdown request, which is the Havenside Retail Mall buildings. We're waiting for the roofs to be completed, and the warehouses. All other projects we had, and we had 13 in total, are completed. And we're working with VITEMA and FEMA to draw down the additional funds. We have received over $1 million already, and we have a few more 100,000 to collect.
Are there any questions on that?
So this is a reimbursement program. We spend first and then get reimbursed?
That is correct.
Morning. I was trying to get, I had a question in reference to the Department of Justice. If you can go into explaining in the language, make it a little clearer than what it is. Because the money they're asking to invest in, are they asking for an abatement? Are they asking for something related to the outstanding debt? Does the improvements include separating out the electrical in your discussions back and forth?
No, the
No.
trustee Dorsey, it does not include separating the electrical. They want to make improvements to their interior, floors, walls, doors. The negotiation is ongoing. I just wanted to update what the last conversation was, but we met with them and gave them the information. We had a back and forth, and now the ball is in their court. They're getting some language together to return to us. So it's still an active negotiation.
Okay, and what was the electrical cost in the past that you indicated it would cost to separate out the electrical for that building, for those two locations? For all, I guess for the entire building?
I don't have
was
the
the cost?
exact figure with me, trustee Dorsey, but I did some extensive walkthrough of the property on Thursday, and I want you to allow me until next board meeting to properly respond because of my findings, but it would be too preliminary to talk about it. So if you can give me until then, let me just do a little more research, please.
Can you repeat the last part?
I said, if you can just allow me till the next report that I send. I did an extensive walkthrough and I have to do just a tad more research since I've been in this position. So before I say anything, let me do a little bit more research and then I'll get back to the board.
Okay, so I guess with Mr. Nibs, did you have a number for separating out in the past? Did you have a number for separating out the electrical for the main building?
Dorsey, we have been through this many times. I indicated to you that in prior years, it was something that we discussed years ago. I put it on the table. We met with Geridian, we met with, I think was electrical contractor, I can't remember his name, plus Mr. Barrows, our director, and they felt it would have been cost prohibitive to do that. Now, if we want to consider that, I mean, what we do is we do it based on square footage, whether it's fair or not, you know, we have to look at that. But obviously GRS, since they're the landlords, they have to be the one to do that, right? We currently putting in the air condition with it's not separate. So we got to look at all of those things because the air condition would have to be separated out also.
Yeah, I think that's what my point was, Mr. Nibs. We're going forward, and I would just look at this as a way of just planning this out.
The prior board said it was cost prohibitive.
I understand that, but I wasn't here, Mr. Nibs. I'm here now, so I'm making a request.
Okay, well, we'll do our best. What we can do, I guess I'll get the okay from the chairman to obligate funds to go out and get a consultant to come in, electrical consultant, maybe 1 or 2, 3, and give us a quote as to what it will cost.
Well, what I was really requesting, Mr. Nibs, as to what you already had on file that you said was denied by the previous board. I just wanted to see a place where you can start. I can start as a new trustee. At least I could have a place to start. I'm not asking you to go out and do it all over. I was just trying to get what you already had completed in terms of trying to separate it out. The other question I had, Mr. Nibs, the other question I had.
Can I respond, sir? Things have changed. Things have changed since significantly because that was discussed really like, 2010, 2011. Things have changed in the last 10 years around here as far as load. So, I think we need to have a new survey if that is what the board is thinking about doing.
Okay, well, in a previous meeting, you quoted $500,000 to get the job done. I think that's what the number was, an estimate. When I was receiving the information in a previous board meeting. I never really received any paperwork, and I also received at that time that the past board indicated that they thought the cost would have been too much. But my question to you, my second point is, how much are we paying currently for the space or spaces? How much are we paying on the electrical side each month? On average, what are we paying?
I cannot, I can do it as an annual basis. I know before, when we had the LEAC, we were paying over $1 million. Since the LEAC is no longer in place, I think it's down to about 800 and something thousand dollars. Ms. Jeremiah can attest to that, but I know it's around $800,000.
Okay, and you believe the estimate will be less than the 800,000 to convert, or you're not sure?
Trustee Dorsey, I'm not an expert in that. Like I said, if the board wants me to go out and get quotes, I can have 3 contractors come in here and give us a quote.
Okay,
Mr. Nips, just a point of information. Although that's our total electric bill, it's reimbursable. We
I know
do
it's
get it back
reimbursable,
from
yeah.
the tenants. I said our bill is not 800,000. I'm just
Well,
saying that. for
I'm
Trustee
giving
Dorsey.
them the amount for the entire building. Yes, and we have to divide, we usually divide it by in square footage, but I can't give you what our building off the top of my head, what it costs for just the GRS space only. We on the 3 different floors. So
What I don't
we can give
understand,
you that, we can give you that information, Ms. Jeremiah
We
can
can
get it.
provide
for
it.
you.
the only point I was saying is that we're putting out money we really don't have because of our financial constraints. So I'm just trying to figure out how we can just nip this in a situation where the individuals will be on their own. They'll be on their own meter, basically going forward. So I'm just trying to figure out how we get to that point.
I think what if that's something we want to consider seriously, and just not to prejudice this discussion, but I don't think that, because I mean the issue we're gonna have is that if we do an analysis about breaking out, we break out on the basis of the present tenants that we have. What happens when you have a next set of tenants with a different set of square footage?
Well,
I mean, then the configuration will be different. So I'm not sold on the idea of breaking it out, but if I mean, because I mean, you'll get a quote, if you ask for a quote for breaking it out, it'll be a quote for breaking it out based on the current tenants and their usage. I mean, what happens when we get a new set of tenants with different kind of usage? Then that configuration probably won't make any sense. So I think before we get there, we need to make a decision as to whether we think it makes sense to try to break it out, or makes more sense to just or put our efforts into collecting our portion of the bill from our tenants. So I think that's a decision we need to make as a board, if that's something that we want to look at, and then we could go look for a cost. But I mean, I
We have done,
I see.
yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think we have done the best we can as far as getting in contact with OMB. As you can see, the arrearages is down to $80,000 now. It used to be over 200 and electrical over $200,000. So Ms. Glenningham is on top of that, and we have been in contact with OMB because, as you know,
My personal take on it is, and especially when we're in the next part of the agenda, we're talking about the value, the market value of the property, and I'm assuming that the market value is based on the market value of the property as a whole. So I'm not sure on what basis we want to reconfigure the electricity. I don't think that's the route we need to go. But you know, that's just me. If the boards want to do that, we'll have some some discussion on it and we'll make a decision on it.
But Chair,
I-
I would just say that the other way to look at it is we can redo the lease. As we redoing these leases, we could ask for probably more money based on what we've been paying out on average. We can just go back the last 3 years of these tenants so that technically we'll be drawing down from a fund. And I think the tenants would understand that since the system is in the predicament that it's in financially, that probably shouldn't be a problem to draw down from a fund from their side, not from our side, where we're paying for their services and then get reimbursed. So that's another way that we can look at it if the board decides they don't want to
Well,
separate out.
That's my point. I think we should, the focus of the discussion should be on the delinquent. I don't think our first option is to separate, is to break up the configuration of electricity. I really don't think so. I mean, quite apart from the fact that it's cost prohibitive or whatever that number is, I mean, as I said earlier, it's going to be a different configuration if you have a different set of tenants with different usage. How do we break it up at that point? So, all right. So let's move on from that. We'll discuss this in the context of how we collect on our arrears and at a different session.
So Chair, can we put this in a committee? Can we assign this to a committee?
Yeah, we'll put it on the next budget committee, I guess.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Chair, let me conclude. We also submitted a Exhibit C, which shows, I just wanted to go-
I'm sorry, Mr. Neves, before you go on, Mr. Liger indicated that Whopper is off in his area, so he's offline. He was asking for a number to call in, if that's possible.
Ms. Cooley, can you give him that information?
Yes, I'll call him.
Thank you. On Exhibit C, just wanted to show that the amount of activity. 1 minute, please. Yes, Mr. Liger, Ms. Cooley. Just wanted to show you the amount of activity our customer service has been doing for the month of April. As you can see, there were 642 contacts territory-wide. In St. Thomas, there were 547, and in St. Croix, 95, for a total of 642 contacts. For whatever, most of them were email. Most of it was by mail, but email, telephone, walk-ins. We don't have any walk-ins anymore, or faxes. And it gives you the type of contact, you know, what they were asking for. Seems like the majority were asking for copies of the 1099 R and 1099 interest. So there's a lot of activity. Obviously, if we had walk-ins, it would have probably been more, because I've seen it over sometimes over the 642 in prior months before pandemic. So I just wanted to share that with the board. Also, I want to also add that I wrote a email to the new Commissioner nominee Bruce of Department of Finance, following up on, I congratulated her on an appointment. Also following up on contact that I've had with the prior acting commissioner in regards to Act number 8383. And that act, as you know, in fiscal year 2020, it would give us a 50% share of any revenues realized in excess of the funds appropriated by the legislature. And so I'm waiting patiently to see, to get a response. as to what the status is. My feeling is that probably they're waiting for the audited financials to be done, but we just want to keep on top of it because the law states that we're supposed to get in 2020 fiscal year and then at least 50% share of the revenues realized in excess of the funds appropriated.
VC doesn't call you, and I keep trying to get across to him. He cannot call me. He's supposed to go through.
Kathy, mute, please. Kathy, mute. Also, another piece of correspondence, I sent out a billing to Jennifer O'Neill and also the Poseidon Bruce, which is the Commissioner nominee of Finance.
Oh, we reached out to
Attorney Smith,
consultants on the generator project, and
Attorney Smith,
in Georgia Line Department. She said she just didn't have the staff. Like
Attorney Smith.
But they didn't have the.
So the total employer contributions in the billing is 30.9 million. As of that 30.9 million, the Third Circuit Court awarded 19.9 in the ruling that they just recently did. And the outstanding contributions due for 2021 of $10 million and a balance of $1 million from 2020. It's the contention of the government that they don't owe us anything for 2021 because it was not in the miscellaneous, it was not budgeted in the miscellaneous section of the budget from the Internal Revenue Matching Fund. We contend, we feel that that's not so, although it was not appropriated, budgeted, there's enabling legislation which states that every year we're supposed to receive $10 million from the Internal Revenue Matching Fund. There was a schedule that was provided, and just want to let the board know that we submitted that billing. So presently, the government of the Virgin Islands owes us $30.9 million in prior period contributions. Not prior, but partially prior period, and outstanding contributions based on enabling legislation. That ends my report.
Okay. Like to get a motion to accept the report?
Don't have to, sir.
You don't have to?
No.
That you told me last time I had to.
No.
Okay.
I mean, secretary.
I'd like a motion to reorder the agenda because I'm gonna lose a couple of my board members absolutely by 11 o'clock. I understand, and I need to address some issues before I lose them. So I'd like to get a motion to reorder the agenda to go to executive session next. And then we could come back to the regular session after the executive session, if you still have a quorum.
I make a motion to rearrange the agenda to go into executive session.
Second,
Okay, moved and seconded, roll call.
Trustee Carlwood absent. Trustee Dorsey.
yes.
Trustee Liger.
Yes.
Trustee McDonald absent. Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Barry.
Yes,
4 yes, 2 absent.
okay, so
So we're moving
Now
into
moving-
executive session to hear legal matters and personal matters, right? That's correct. I mean, I forget to say that.
No, you'll need a separate motion to
To
now
go
that
into
it's been
executive.
ordered, you need a separate motion to go into executive session and cite the reasons why.
Okay. So I make a motion to move into executive session to hear legal matters and personal matters.
Second,
moved and seconded, roll call.
Trustee Carlwood absent. Trustee Dorsey.
yes.
Trustee Liger.
Yes.
Trustee McDonald absent. Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Barry,
Yes.
4 yes, 2 absent.
Okay. So the first,
Sorry, I just
Well,
have a
first,
question. I'm a retiree. Should we just stay on? Is it going to come back to us after the executive session, or do we have to sign back in?
Ms. Cooley, you need to put them in the, Ms. Cooley?